Shocking betrayal exposed. Cops frame black woman, discovered as their incredible new boss. Rain pounded the streets of Chicago's South Side as Tara wiped the tears from her son's eyes. Malik's little hand squeezed hers tightly. "Mom, it's going to be okay," he said, trying to be brave just like his mother taught him. Inside her cafe, Hope's Haven, warmth and the rich aroma of coffee brewed alongside sweet pastries provided a stark contrast to the chaos outside. It was their refuge, where laughter mixed with frank conversations about dreams and hope. But outside, the world whispered shadows of prejudice and struggles that they couldn't escape. One fateful evening, just as the sun dipped behind the clouds, the storm rolled in. A young man, Jay, who came every week, a friend, had just stepped outside for fresh air. The sudden blare of sirens shattered the soft murmur of the cafe. Tara shot to the door as chaos erupted before her eyes. Jay stood trembling as officers accosted him, shouting accusations. "Get back!" one officer barked, waving his hand dismissively at Tara. Her heart raced. He do anything wrong," she yelled, her voice rising as she pushed past uniformed bodies. In that moment, everything blurred: the cafe, the warmth, her hopes. The heavy weight of systemic injustice pressed down. But then it happened. With a swift turn, the officer grabbed her arm. "You're under arrest," he declared, as if the world she built was crumbling around her. Tara's mind raced. What about Malik? Wasn't he advocating for her community supposed to be a strength? She was locked away, her pleas drowned by chaos, while Malik stayed behind, the weight of fear etched into his young face. Just as she feared for her cafe's future, news broke out. The community, strong and resilient, rallied around her. Flyers with her image filled the streets. "Free Tara" became a chorus echoing through their neighborhood. Friends, customers, family descended on the police station demanding her release. "We want to stand for this," shouted Mrs. Thompson from across the street, her voice firm, yet filled with a softness that betrayed her own tears. Days turned into an emotional blur as Tara navigated the ache of confinement. But then hope arrived in the name of Marissa, a lawyer who knew the fight wasn't just about Tara. It was about the stories sewn into every heart of the community. "We'll uncover the truth, Tara. I promise," she said, her eyes fierce with determination. Together, they probed into layers of corruption, exposing misconduct among the same officers supposed to protect them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As unrest grew, Tara's story grabbed the mayor's attention. Amid community support, she found herself with an astonishing opportunity: a new title, Chief of Police. Her heart raced as she stood at a crossroads, the weight of her community's trust resting on her shoulders. Would she be the change they so desperately needed? Initial self-doubt crept in, whispering doubts, but the glimmer in Malik's eyes would anchor her. The time had come to confront the very force that stole her freedom. With the entire neighborhood behind her, she prepared to face off against the officers who once silenced her. But would the system allow room for redemption, or would it swallow her whole, just as it had before? The hope of justice hung in the air, thick and electric, leaving readers questioning: can Tara truly redefine justice, or will it slip through her fingers like sand? The morning sun broke through the clouds, bathing Chicago's South Side in a golden light that felt almost surreal. Tara stared out at the familiar street, a blend of excitement and fear flooding her system. Today was the day. As she adjusted her crisp police uniform, she felt the weight of responsibility press down on her shoulders. She was a symbol of hope, possibly the only thread connecting the community's dreams to a palpable future. Yet, beneath her bravery, uncertainty lurked. Could she navigate the very system that once imprisoned her? The precinct buzzed with an energy Tara hadn't anticipated. Officers shuffled papers, throwing glances at the new chief, unsure if they should welcome her or challenge her. Deep in her gut, Tara felt the tension of 1,000 unresolved conflicts, simmering just beneath the surface. Marissa's earlier words echoed in her mind. "You are not just a badge, you are a voice." Tara stepped into the briefing room, where officers gathered, murmuring among themselves. Her heart raced. Any moment now, she'd need to command this room that had been ruled by men like those who had wronged her. She took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. "Good morning, everyone," she began, her voice strong, breaking through their murmurs. Silence fell as they turned to face her, curious and skeptical. "I'm here to assure you that we can do better. We have a chance to rebuild trust with our community. I believe we can embrace justice, fairness, and accountability." A few grumbled, but silence held tight, clamping down on any unspoken doubts. "Sorry, Chief," interrupted Officer Lane, a broad-shouldered man with an air of authority that seemed unshakable. "But trust needs to be earned. We're not some social club. We're a force on the streets. Some folks just don't want to change." Tara met his gaze. "And that's exactly what's been the problem. People don't just fear the badge. They've lost faith in it. We can turn that around, but we need a plan. We'll be reaching out to the community, listening to their concerns, and reforming how we operate." The murmurs began again, shifting from uncertainty to curiosity. Tara sensed a flicker of hope igniting among the officers. Could they really shift gears? As the meeting progressed, Tara laid out her vision: transparent operations, community engagement, and most importantly, support for her officers as they ventured into untamed territories of reform. Her passion radiated, and one by one, hesitant nods began to emerge. After the meeting, as officers slowly filed out, Marissa appeared at the door. "You did it, Tara. They're listening." There was a spark in her eyes, one Tara hadn't seen since her own arrest. It filled her with renewed energy, but uncertainty still lingered. "Do you think they'll follow through?" "I believe they will," Marissa replied, her grip firm on Tara's shoulder. "You just need to keep pushing forward, even when it gets hard." That night, Tara lay in bed with Malik, who snuggled close. "Mom, when you're out there with the cops, it's like you're really a superhero," he whispered, his excitement so genuine it filled her chest with warmth. Tara chuckled softly, ruffling his curls. "I'll keep fighting for all of us, I promise." But as she held her son, doubt crept in again. What if they turned against her? Would her community stand by her side if the officers became resistant to change? The next day summoned fresh challenges. Press conferences, community forums, and eyes eagerly watching every move she made. This was not just about regaining her place in the system. It was about reshaping it from within. As tension mounted, Tara received an anonymous tip that sent chills down her spine. Someone within the department was poised to expose her, threatening to derail everything she'd worked towards. Would they try to silence her again? Tara took a deep breath. The stakes had never been higher. What was meant to be her redemption could become her downfall. As she confronted this scandal, she realized the true battle was just beginning. Would she discover who was behind the threat before it was too late? Tara spent the entire morning poring over the details of the anonymous tip. She paced her small office, her fingers drumming against the desk, trying to make sense of the unsettling information. Someone had reliable evidence about her past, her arrest, and her descent into darkness. That someone clearly had no intention of letting her move forward. Unscathed hours passed, and the looming threat felt heavier than ever. She thought about what would happen if the news got out. Would her community view her as a fraud? Would the officers she'd just begun to connect with distance themselves out of fear or disgust? Suddenly the door creaked open. It was Marissa, her ever-present ally. "Tara, you okay?" she asked, concern painted across her features. "No, I just got a tip. Someone knows everything about my past," Tara said, her voice strained. "They're going to use it against me." Marissa's brow furrowed. "What do we do? Do you need to talk to someone?" "I don't know. I can't let this disrupt everything I'm trying to build." Tara felt tears prick at the edges of her vision. The fear of failure gripped her throat, but she swallowed hard. "I need to face this head-on. Then we'll find out who it is," Marissa said firmly, her determination infectious. "You're not alone in this. We've come too far to back down now." They both knew that Tara would need allies if she was going to confront whoever was behind the threat. First, she decided to call an informal meeting with trusted officers. She needed to gauge the room, see who was really on her side. Maybe they could help her unearth the identity of the mole. Later that evening, she gathered a small group in the precinct break room. Tension filled the air as she looked around at the familiar faces. Some were friendly, others skeptical. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what came next. Listen, everyone, I wanted to talk about something important. I've received a warning about someone in this department being less than honest. I need your help, she began, surprising even herself with how calm she sounded. You're looking at the wrong people, Chief. Officer Lane chimed in, his voice dripping with sarcasm. What makes you think anyone here would betray you? Sounds a bit paranoid, don't you think? For a moment silence fell, punctuated only by the ticking clock on the wall. Tara clenched her fists. This isn't paranoia. I'm trying to change things for the better. And there are forces at play that want to see me fail. The room buzzed with murmurs. Some officers exchanged wary glances, others nodded, starting to see the truth behind her words. When the meeting wrapped up, a sense of unease remained. Tara could feel everyone's eyes on her as she left. Stepping outside for some fresh air, she leaned against the cold brick wall, gripping her phone tightly. Suddenly her inbox chimed. An email subject line shot chills down her spine. You won't believe what I know. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding before opening it. The details inside confirmed her worst fears. Someone had been gathering evidence on her. And they weren't just planning on exposing her, they were ready to ruin her life. With every sentence she read, anger ripped through her. Who was behind this? Before she could think her next move through, her phone buzzed again. It was Malik's text, just a simple, loving message. I miss you, Mom. When will you be home? Tara's heart softened as she read his words, reminding her of what she was fighting for. Tomorrow would bring another chance to face her fears. She needed to dig deeper, uncover the truth about the mole. Would she have to sacrifice her new role to protect her family? Or could she turn the tables and confront the danger lurking within her own department? As Tara stood in the moonlight, the weight of her decision felt more monumental than ever. Tomorrow she would seek out the truth. Who had turned their back on her in her darkest hour? And just how far were they willing to go to destroy her? The sunlight peeked through the blinds, casting stripes across Tara's office floor. Tension clung to the air like humidity before a storm. She sat at her desk, almost willing the email from the night before to dissolve into thin air. Her heart raced as she reviewed its contents for the 100th time. It was a reminder that danger loomed close, waiting to strike. She couldn't shake the image of Malik's text. The sweetness in his words felt like a weight pulling her toward hope, but doubt crept in. What kind of mother was she if she couldn't protect him? The stakes were higher than ever, and she had to navigate this treacherous waters carefully. Looking at the clock, Tara steeled her resolve. She had a meeting scheduled with Marissa and a couple of other trusted officers. They were her first line of defense. Each tick echoed in her ears. Time was slipping away, and she needed to see the precinct. She found Marissa waiting, her expression serious. Tara, I've been thinking, she began hesitantly. What if we go through the department records? Maybe it'll lead us to the one leaking information. Tara nodded. Good idea. I can't shake the feeling that someone close to me is involved. I just don't know who to trust. Marissa's eyes flashed with anger. Let us find out who it is then. As they delved into the files, Tara felt a jolt of adrenaline. Every piece of information they uncovered felt like a puzzle piece falling into place. But with each revelation came an unsettling thought: what if her past was used as a weapon against her by someone she thought was a friend? It wasn't long before Officer Lane strolled in. A casual smile plastered across his face, the kind that made Tara bristle. What are you two scheming about? He asked, leaning against the doorway. Tara straightened, feeling her defenses heighten. Just some routine checks. You wouldn't mind giving us some space, would you? Lane shrugged, his smile fading as he assessed the tension in the room. Sure, but you know I could help you look. I've been around long enough to know the inner workings of this department. Thanks, but we've got this under control, Marissa replied, sliding her gaze back to Tara. It was clear she didn't trust him either, and neither did Tara, though a flicker of doubt clouded her judgment. Could they truly afford to leave any stone unturned? Once he left, Tara sighed. I think he might be hiding something. There's a vibe to him I just can't shake. Marissa nodded in agreement. We need to find allies. It's time to enlist the others who were hesitant during the meeting. Tara nodded, the plan forming like a beacon of light in her mind. They could gather a coalition, get more eyes on the situation, and hopefully rally support to stop the mole before irreparable damage was done. With a renewed sense of purpose, they left the office, determination fueling their steps. They had to act quickly with precision. But as they made their way through the precinct, Tara's heart began to race once more. A sense of being watched lingered in the back of her mind. When she spotted Officer Lane again, casually chatting with another officer, an uncomfortable chill coursed through her body. The thought gnawed at her: could he be the mole? What if he held the key to her darkest secrets? Suddenly her phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. It was Malik again, this time a simple selfie of him wearing his favorite cap, a sweet grin on his face. "Miss you, Mom," it read. Taking a deep breath, Tara realized she had to keep her focus. She was determined. But with each passing moment, the danger around her felt like a tightening noose. What would it take to bring the truth to light? As Tara walked on, a thought lingered in her mind. Could she uncover the mole in time? Or would betrayal become too costly to ignore? Tara pressed her lips together, willing herself to focus. The noise of the precinct swirled around her, officers bustling with their own duties, laughter and frustration mingling in the air. But it all felt distant. Her world had narrowed to the threat lurking in the shadows, one that could dismantle everything she fought for. "Okay," Tara murmured to Marissa, who diligently pulled up the files on her laptop. "Let us break this down. We need to dissect recent cases, anything that feels unusual. Can you recall anyone who has been suddenly more interested in your reports?" Marissa nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. "There was Officer Brandt. He has been asking a lot of questions about my cases lately, more than what should be necessary." Her voice lowered as she glanced around. "I thought it was just him trying to look good in front of the higher-ups. Or trying to find dirt," Tara replied sharply, her mind racing. "We need to keep an eye on him." Shifting closer, she felt the weight of her own vulnerability. Was Malik safe right now? She could imagine his laughter filling their small living room, the warmth of home. But safety teetered on the edge, and Tara felt a fierce protectiveness surge within her. Let us connect with the others, see if they've noticed anything off. She grabbed her phone, hesitating only a moment before pressing Malik's contact. His sweet selfie from earlier brought a smile to her face, a stark contrast to the peril encroaching on her family. But the fleeting joy didn't last. She couldn't let her heart soften now. Marissa watched her, concern etched on her face. "Hey, you okay? You seem a bit, I don't know, frantic?" "I'm fine," Tara said, perhaps too quickly. "We just need to act fast. The longer we wait, the worse it could get. Let us keep moving." They regrouped with two other officers, Arya and Lawson, both known for their loyalty and keen instincts. Tara laid out her suspicions, keeping a close eye on their reactions. Arya, a sharp-eyed veteran, leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "Sounds right. Some of the new recruits have an agenda. We just need to trace it." Lawson chimed in, determination lighting up his gaze. "We can check surveillance footage, see who's been meeting whom on the sly." "Good. We'll need to split up," Tara decided, firm in her leadership. "Marissa, you stay here and dig up anything else about Brandt. Keep me posted. I'll check footage with Lawson." As they moved, tension coiling tighter, Tara caught sight of Lane at the far end of the precinct. He was laughing with another officer, the jovial air around him contrasting sharply with the pit deepening in her stomach. What was so amusing? Did he know she was onto him? Glancing back at Marissa, Tara felt the darkness creeping closer. It wasn't he just a mole in the department. It felt like a threat looming in her very life. The first round of footage revealed nothing suspicious. They leaned forward, eyes glued to the screen, searching for answers. "Look," Lawson said suddenly, pausing the video. "Who is that at the edge of the shot?" Tara squinted. The figure was too far to recognize, but something about the way they moved triggered her instincts. "Can we enhance it? I need to know who that is." She felt that familiar weight of dread, the nagging uncertainty that something much bigger was at play. Tara's heart thudded as she realized she was buried deeper in this than she had anticipated. Her phone buzzed again. Malik's name flashed, pulling her heart upward. "It's just him checking in," she murmured. But beneath her words she felt a flicker of doubt. What if her connection to him compromised his safety? As she reached for her phone, Mahal's joyful face fading into the background of terror. "I need to do everything I can to protect him," she whispered, steeling herself. That was when the lights flickered across the precinct, dimming momentarily. A ripple of confusion spread through the officers, but Tara's instinct screamed at her. "Everyone stay alert," she shouted. Whatever was coming felt bad, and she wasn't about to lose anyone else, especially not her son. The tension hung thick in the air as she felt the danger drawing closer. What if shadows weren't the only thing lurking in the darkness? Would she uncover the truth before it was too late? The lights flickered again, this time plunging the precinct into a haze of uncertainty. Tara felt her heartbeat quicken, the once familiar sounds of colleagues morphing into a distant echo, muffled by the growing intensity in her chest. "Where's the backup?" Lawson's voice broke through her thoughts, edged with panic. "I don't know," Tara admitted, trying to maintain her composure. "But we need to secure this area. Marissa, get everyone to the central room. Now." Marissa looked startled, but she nodded, already moving toward the door. Tara followed behind Lawson through the winding corridors, her mind racing with every potential outcome. Clarity pierced the confusion as they approached the central command room, the heart of the precinct. If anything was going down, they needed everyone in one place. "Hurry up," Tara urged, forcing herself to sound more confident than she felt. As she pushed through the door, the sight of her colleagues, some sitting, some standing in anxious clusters, did little to quell the storm of dread inside her. "Okay," she said, taking a breath to steady herself. "We need to regroup and stay focused. There is something off in this precinct, and whatever Brant or Lane are involved in." Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside. The windows rattled, and the lights dimmed yet again. Tara's heart dropped. "Everyone stay calm." She fought back the chilling thought that they might be targeted. Khalil's laughter floated into her mind as a reminder of what she was protecting, heightening her urgency. "Marissa, get that door secured," Tara ordered. She glanced at Lawson, who stood steadfast, his jaw clenched. "Keep an eye on the monitors. If anyone suspicious comes near, we need to know." Within moments she spotted a frazzled rookie, a look of fear written across his face. "Tara, it's Brant. He just left the building." "Hold on." Tara stepped closer, her pulse racing. "What do you mean he left? Where did he go?" The rookie hesitated, glancing toward the exit. "I saw him with some strange guys. They were outside in the alley." "That's not good," Lawson muttered, his eyes narrowing. "We need to find out if he's part of this." Tara swiped through her phone, scanning for Malik's name again. But instead of pulling strength from his jovial image, anxiety overtook her. She called, listening intently for the sound of his familiar voice, only to be met with silence. A pang of panic rushed through her. What if his safety was at risk because of her investigation? What if she was dragging him into something dangerous? "This can't be happening," she whispered under her breath. "Hey, Tara." Lawson pulled her back to focus. "We need to move. If Brant's meeting someone, he could be spilling what we're onto. We can't wait any longer. We need to track him down." Tara swallowed hard. She felt the weight of her choices claw at her, but she knew they had no time for doubt. "Okay, let us go." The four of them rushed out. The precinct was quiet, too quiet. Each footstep echoed like a warning as they made their way toward the back alley. Tara's mind was racing through every possible scenario, each one darker than the last. What if Brant was leading them to a trap? What if Lane was involved? As they reached the alley, their eyes scanned the darkness, engines of anxiety revving in their hearts. But there was no sight of Brant or anyone else. Just then, out of the shadows, two figures emerged, walking toward them, exchanging whispers. "Stop!" Tara shouted, heart pounding. "This is your last warning." But instead of fear, the figures dropped into a defensive stance, smirking at her. "Looks like you're outnumbered, officer," one said, his voice taunting. Tara's heart raced, adrenaline shooting through her veins. This was bigger than she thought, more dangerous than she could have imagined. With one swift motion, their plans of discovery unspooled before her, revealing betrayal in the thickening air. Suddenly, the darkness shifted, and a new player stepped from the shadows, a familiar face, one that sent dread curling in her stomach. "Did you really think you could keep this from me, Tara?" Lane chuckled, eyes glistening with malice. As Tara took a step back, the reality of her situation sunk in. This wasn't just about protecting her family anymore. It was about uncovering a web of betrayal woven so deeply into the precinct that she could barely breathe. The game was changing, and she was now entangled in a far greater fight than she'd ever anticipated. Would she emerge victorious, or would the shadows finally consume her? Tara blinked, reeling from the presence of Lane. The smirk on his face, so familiar yet twisted, felt like a cold hand wrapping around her throat. She looked to Lawson and Marissa, their faces tight with shock as they stood shoulder to shoulder, ready to defend her. But against whom? Lane, Tara said, her voice steadier than she felt. What the hell are you doing here? He stepped forward, eyes glinting with a mix of amusement and something darker. Right now, I'm just enjoying the show. He gestured to the two men flanking him, muscular and intimidating. These are my associates. They prefer a more persuasive method of negotiation. Lawson squared his shoulders, the tension in the air nearly palpable. This isn't the time for games, Lane. You're making a mistake. But Lane only laughed, a sound laced with contempt. Oh, I don't think so. You see, you've all been poking the bear, and now the bear is awake and ready to bite. Tara's heart raced. If Lane was out in the open, it meant he felt untouchable. What do you want? She demanded, her anger cutting through the fear. Simple, he said, stepping closer. I want this little investigation of yours to end. You're digging into things best left buried. And I promise if you don't stop, well, I wouldn't want anything to happen to your precious Malik. Her stomach dropped at the mention of Malik. The protective instinct surged within her, igniting a fierce resolve. What did you do? Just a friendly reminder, Lane said with a casual wave, his eyes glimmering with malice. But don't worry, I've got everything under control. If you play nice, maybe he'll stay safe. Her mind raced. She couldn't let fear dictate her next move. You think you can scare me into silence? She shot back, her determination overpowering her dread. Lane's smile widened and it disgusted her. It's not about fear, Tara. It's about what you value. Can you honestly say you care about this precinct? Or is it just about that boy? Choose wisely. A rush of heat pulsed through her, swallowing her caution. This was no longer just about her role as a cop. It was personal. I want to stop. Not for you. Not for anyone. The tension snapped tight as Lawson shifted slightly, ready to spring into action, but Tara held up a hand. The last thing they needed was to escalate this further while Malik was vulnerable. Let him go, she urged Lane, her voice low but firm. Let him go? Lane repeated, a mocking grin splitting his face. And what's the incentive for me in that? Your men want to be able to help you if this precinct sheds light on what you're doing, Tara challenged, willing herself to remain calm. So I suggest you think harder about your next move. Lane's eyes darkened, assessing her threat. The standoff felt electric, a moment frozen in time before the storm. Suddenly, as if summoned by the tension, Marissa spoke up. Tara, we can't just stand here. We have to call for backup. Not yet, Tara replied, her gaze fixed on Lane. We need to find Malik first. But Lane only laughed again, spinning around to lead his men deeper into the shadows. Good luck with that, Tara. You might find the answers you're looking for, but you won't like them. As he disappeared, a sense of urgency crashed over Tara. They had to act quickly, to save Malik and unravel the danger lurking within their own precinct. Come on, Tara urged her small team, sensing the fire ignite in her chest. We need to find Brant before it's too late. Lane might be playing games, but he's using Malik as his piece on the board. As they sprinted away from the alley, Tara's mind swirled with concerns. She couldn't recall how long the silence around them had permeated, and more importantly, who might be watching them. Just as they pushed back toward the precinct, an alert echoed through her phone. A sudden ping, and she glanced down to see a message flash across the screen. If you want Malik back, come alone. Her heart raced as panic and fury surged through her. There was no turning back now. As the words sank in, Tara faced a painful decision. Trust her instincts or risk everything to save Malik. The heaviness of it bore down as they approached the main doors of the precinct, knowing the next moments could change everything. But the clock was ticking. Would she gamble everything to rescue Malik, or play the dangerous game laid out by Lane? Time was running out, and so was her resolve. Tara pushed through the doors of the precinct, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. The sterile scent of antiseptic and burnt coffee welcomed her back, a sharp contrast to the chaotic scene she'd just left behind. Lawson and Marissa followed closely, their expressions a mix of determination and concern. They were her team, her family, and now more than ever, she needed them. "Okay, what's the plan?" Lawson asked, his voice just above a whisper. Tara clenched her fists, feeling the phone buzz again in her pocket. "We find Brant," she replied, locking eyes with her partner's. "He's way closer to the truth than we are. But I have to confront Lane. I can't let fear dictate what I do." Lawson opened his mouth to protest, but Marissa placed a hand on his arm and shook her head. "We'll back you up. But you need to stay smart about this." Tara nodded, feeling the weight of their support. "I will. It's just Malik. He shouldn't be caught up in this." The precinct hummed with activity as officers fielded calls and exchanged tense whispers. The weight of urgency pressed down on Tara. She could sense something in the air, an electric anticipation that made her skin prickle. After a moment's hesitation, she made her way toward the back where Brant's office sat apart from the chaos. She knocked briskly before stepping inside, the door creaking slightly as she pushed it open. "Brant!" she called out, her voice steady despite the anxiety clawing at her gut. The older officer looked up from a cluttered desk, worry etched across his face. "Tara, what is going on? You look like you've seen a ghost." She took a deep breath, letting the air fill her lungs before exhaling slowly. "It's Lane. He's here and he's made threats against Malik. I need intel on him, anything you have." Brant's brow furrowed deeper. "Lane? What did he say?" Tara swallowed hard, the memories of Lane's mocking laughter echoing in her mind. "He claims he has Malik. He wants me to come alone. I think he's setting a trap for me or worse for Malik." "Damn it," Brant replied, gripping the edge of the desk. "Lane's got too many people in his pocket. He thrives on the chaos he creates. We can't let him win, but if we're going after him, we have to do it smart." "Smart," Tara repeated, absorbing the gravity of his words. "We can't just rush him blindly." "Right," Brant said, rifling through a stack of papers. "Let's start with his known associates. You might remember some names from previous cases." "If he's got muscle with him." A sudden loud banging at the precinct door interrupted him. Eyes turned toward the source of the commotion. Officers exchanged worried glances, and the atmosphere shifted sharply. "Stay here," Tara ordered, stepping back toward the door. "I'll check it out." Before she could process the words, she caught sight of Lawson and Marissa emerging from the hallway. The erratic urgency in their frantic expressions halted her. "Tara!" Lawson shouted, breathless. "You need to see this." She followed them, her stomach sinking as they made their way to the front of the precinct. Outside, a crowd had gathered, their faces twisted in confusion and fear. Murmurs swirled around them like an ominous gust of wind. "What's happening?" Tara asked, straining to see through the throng of bodies. "Someone's taking a stand against corruption," Marissa said, pointing toward the front of the crowd. "They've got a banner, look." And there it was, a bold, glaring message hung high. "Expose the lies. No more silence." The mystery of who was behind the banner sent chills down Tara's spine. What did it all mean? Were they targeting Lane, or were they creating a diversion? Then through the crowd, a familiar figure emerged. Her heart dropped. It was Malik. "What the hell?" Tara screamed, the panic shooting through her. "No." Before she could push through the mass of people, Malik raised his hands, trying to calm the growing chaos. "I'm here to speak the truth," he called out, voice amplified by the crowd's energy. Tara's mind was reeling. Malik wasn't supposed to be here. This wasn't safe. "Get back!" Tara shouted, desperation flooding her voice. In that moment, she realized they were all part of a game much larger than herself. The stakes were higher than she ever imagined. As Malik's face got closer, determination flickered through her. Would she let him risk everything to expose the very darkness Lane thrived on? Time was dwindling. Would she pull him back now, or would she still confront Lane, risking it all to save him? Tara's phone buzzed again, another message lighting up the screen. "Your turn, Tara. Are you ready to pay the price for what you want?" Her pulse surged. Decisions loomed ahead like a precipice, threatening to swallow them all. Tara pushed her way through the crowd, her heart racing with each step. She had to get to Malik before it was too late. The noise buzzed around her, a jarring blend of fear, anger, and confusion. People shouted, voicing their frustrations toward the system, but all Tara could focus on was Malik standing bravely, pulling the crowd's attention. "Malik, get down!" Tara shouted, her voice cutting through the clamor like a knife. Her instincts screamed at her to reach him, to pull him away from this precarious ledge he had stepped onto. He turned, surprise flushing his features. "Tara, I'm trying to Tara's right." Lawson broke through the last lines of the crowd, eyes wide with concern. "This isn't the time for bravado. We have to move." "Move where?" Malik challenged, his gaze intense. "If we don't stand up now, then when?" "It's too dangerous," Marissa added, pushing closer. "Lane is behind this. He won't let you walk away unscathed." Malik hesitated, uncertainty creeping into his eyes. Tara could see that fire flickering. He wanted to make a difference, but didn't fully grasp the risks involved. "I just want people to know the truth Lane has buried," he said, his voice firm but tinged with fear. "The truth?" Tara echoed, frustration bubbling to the surface. "What truth can be uncovered if you end up hurt or worse? You're fighting a war without an army." The reality of their situation sunk deeper into the crowd. The murmurs that had drowned out her voice transformed into gasps, glances darting around. Tara could see the tension rising like the temperature before a summer storm. The crowd didn't need another martyr. They needed a hero who lived to fight another day. As Malik opened his mouth to respond, Tara grabbed his arm, urgency in her grip. "Trust me, please. Just step down for now. We'll figure this out together." For a moment, he seemed to weigh her words, the fire in his eyes dimming against the shadow of reason. But before he could respond, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. A figure loomed in the crowd, their presence stifling the air with fear and recognition. "Tara." Brant's voice came from the entrance. He stepped through the throng, his brow furrowed in determination. "We need to move now. Lane's got associates here, and they'll bring this whole block down if they catch wind of what's happening." The air felt thick with impending danger. Tara could sense the urgency in Brant's demeanor. The stakes were escalating rapidly around them. She felt panic rising in her chest but had to remain practical. "Lawson, Marissa, help me get Malik down." "Brant, what are our options?" "Crowd control's our only path," Brant replied, scanning the faces of people around them. "Public safety is at risk. If we don't take control, things will turn ugly fast." The gravity of their reality hit Tara hard. The crowd was agitating, and there was an ember of chaos just waiting for someone to fan the flames. Lane was out there. He was a predator among the unrest, and they had played right into his hands. "Malik, come with us," Lawson urged, pulling him back from the edge. "This isn't worth it, your life, your safety. I can't just walk away." Malik insisted, pulling from Lawson's grip. "I can't let this moment slip through our fingers. We can't stay quiet anymore." Frustration bubbled in Tara as anger fought against fear in her chest. "It's not about silence. It's about survival. If there's anything I've learned, it's that sometimes you have to retreat to fight another day." Before Malik could respond, the crowd erupted again. A startling explosion of voices rising in a desperate plea for change. Somewhere in that turmoil, Tara caught a flash of movement. A man in a dark coat slipped into view at the edge of the crowd. Her heart dropped. "Lane," she whispered. The realization that he was closer than they thought sent chills down her spine. Would he strike now while tensions flared? Malik's expression shifted to alarm as he turned to look, and Tara seized her chance. "Malik, now. We have to go." Would they escape before Lane had them cornered? Would Malik understand the deeper danger at play? Tara grasped Malik's arm tightly, pulling him towards the safety of the precinct doors even as the crowd swelled with uncertain momentum behind them. But the moment they moved, she had a sense that this was only the beginning. Lane's game had just turned ruthless, and with every decision, they were walking a tightrope that could snap at any moment. "Next time, Tara," Lawson shouted over the roar, "it may not just be our lives at stake. It may be our values and those who believe in us." Tara pushed forward, uncertainty churning in her gut. What would it take to expose the real monsters lurking in the shadows? And how much would it cost them all to find the truth? Tara's heart raced as she pulled Malik through the thrumming crowd, the noise around them escalating into chaos. The joy in her son's eyes just moments ago faded into fear as they dodged hands reaching out for them. "Mom, we can't just run. We have to fight," Malik cried, panic edging his voice. Fear clutched Tara. But she had learned that bravery wasn't about charging into battle without fear. It was about knowing when to fight and when to protect those you love. "This ain't the time," she shouted back, forcing her way to the precinct entrance, determined to get him to safety. Just as they slipped through the doors, Tara caught sight of Brandt, urgency etched into his features. "We need backup. Now," he urged, pushing past them toward the dispatcher. The pounding of footsteps shook the precinct as officers coordinated a plan, the air electrified with tension. Tara spun to face Malik, grabbing his shoulders. "Listen, you're safer inside. I need you to trust me, okay?" His eyes flickered between defiance and worry, but he nodded slowly, understanding the gravity of the danger pressing in on them. The silence inside the precinct contrasted starkly with the chaos outside. Tara could already hear the crowd outside roaring in an uproar, their anger palpable. She felt the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders, a pressure that threatened to crush her resolve. But she wouldn't buckle as officers fanned out. Assessing the situation outside, Tara approached Brandt. "We have to figure out Lane's play. If he's make contact with his crew out there, Tara." Marissa burst through the door, breathless. "It's worse. Someone spotted Lane. He's using the crowd to distract us while he makes his move on Malik." Tara's stomach twisted in knots as dread settled over her once again. Every moment was a ticking clock. The crowd was agitated, and any spark could ignite a full-blown explosion of chaos. "We need to protect the perimeter," she said, making quick decisions. "If Lane thinks he can manipulate this situation, he's gravely mistaken." The tension crackled. Officers took their positions, phone calls fired off to channel the anger rumbling outside into something organized. Every second felt like an eternity as Tara focused on her breathing. She needed to think. A plan was forming in her mind. Suddenly, a loud crash resonated from the back of the precinct, leaving everyone on edge. "He's in here," shouted an officer, panic bubbling to the surface. "Stay alert, stay together," Tara yelled, adrenaline surging as she pushed forward to assess the sound. Just then, the monitor screens flickered to life, showing the street outside. A dozen officers clashed with angry demonstrators, truth versus corruption playing out before her eyes. And there, shadows weaving through the chaos, lay the familiar figure of Lane. "Enough," Tara shouted, her voice booming across the room. "Everyone listen. We are the ones who can turn this tide. We are stronger together." She felt the hopelessness in the air beginning to lift. "Bring me Lane," she instructed Brandt, determination setting in. "I want to let him destroy what we've built." Soon, a group of her fellow officers grasped the truth laid bare before them. It was time for a new kind of justice, one that involved each of them standing for their community. Heads nodded, hearts awakening to a shared vision of unity and change as they fanned out to pursue Lane. Tara felt an inner strength coiling within her. No longer a victim of circumstance, she was the architect of a new hope. They would expose these lies together. Her heart hummed at the thought of Malik, a bright light guiding her through the shadows. Stepping back into the chaos of the world she loved, with her community's voices echoing in solidarity, Tara took a deep breath. Just then her phone buzzed again. Malik's name flashed and her heart leaped, but her fingers trembled as she opened the message. "I believe in you, Mom. No matter what, I stand with you." Tears prickled her eyes as she clutched the phone, a sense of renewal flooding her. It was time to fight, not just for her family, but for everyone who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. "Together," she shouted, rallying her fellow officers as they charged out of the precinct, hearts ablaze with purpose. This wasn't just about justice anymore. It was about healing, about rebuilding trust, about taking back their streets. As they closed in on the lurking figures in the shadows, Tara felt unstoppable. For her community, for Malik, and for the truth. She had faced her demons, and now, she was ready to reclaim her life. The darkness didn't stand a chance. It was time for the light to shine. And remember, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Hit that like button to feed the algorithm and comment below with your reactions to this incredible conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support.